Welcome to Naples Garage. We took a week off to get some business done.
Very important is I locked her in.
That's right.
She mine.
Still recovering, being here in Kansas full time.
Mrs. April Hoover, according to your parents.
Oh my God.
They wrote us a check as a gift, and Mr. and Mrs.
Tyler Hoover, which we've gotten mail already that says Mr. and Mrs. Tyler Hoover. So I obviously no longer exist. I'm like a half a person now.
So it's going to be Mrs. Tyler Hoover's Garage now. We're changing the name of the YouTube channel. But we got married and the whole world went to crap. Well, how does that happen? I mean, you know, they're bombing in Iran and
there's a lot.
The protests in the U.S. But the Waymos.
You're so happy about this, and this is awful because it's vandalism. Like the Waymos got destroyed.
So if I were wanting to do just wanton vandalism, you know, I love messing with the Waymos. When we go to Arizona.
You make me nervous though, because he really messes with the Waymos, like hardcore.
If there's nobody in them. Right. That's the thing. If there's a passenger, then I don't mess with them. But when I'm in Arizona, the Waymos are going around. You betcha, I like getting them to honk at me is just funny because there's nobody there, and just doing things to just see if their computer system, just see what happens. I mean, obviously that one could end up hitting me and then I'm in an accident. But then how does that work with the who's at fault or whatever? Anyway,
that's a good point.
They're supposed to be very safe, and they are very responsive as far as avoiding things and honking at you, and it's very funny. But if I were a rioter, and you know, I could just summon Waymos to my location to vandalize and burn them to the ground. That sounds like it sounds fun.
You're so excited about this.
It sounds fun. So that's what happened in LA. I guess 5 or 7 Waymos were summoned to a certain area of protest. They vandalized them, burned them to the ground. Would call another, until Waymo finally figured out, hey, our cars are getting summoned down to the protest and then getting burned alive. So.
Yeah, but there's about, 1,500 in service throughout America right now, but a little bit less.
About 10 less
recently.
Right now.
But the thing about it is that it's actually very dangerous when they catch on fire. What is that, like hydrogen fluoride? Some gases
the batteries,
and fumes that you don't want to be around that to inhale that. And we don't really know the long-term effects, do we?
Well, it's interesting because their Jaguar E-Pace, I believe, is what they're based on. So they buy the E-Pace for whatever they did, $50,000, $70,000, and then they spend $150,000 on all the sensors and all the radar and everything else, which Tesla, with their robotaxi, they're not doing. They're just, you know, relying on sensors and things. So the Waymos are very distinctive because they have the whirly-bird radar things going all over them.
I feel like they have really good sensors and better sensors to avoid, you know, sun and shadows and different elements and fog. They have kind of everything covered. So I'd feel more comfortable in a Waymo than I would the robotaxi.
Right, but the fact that they can be summoned to their own deaths is quite. I don't know why I find it funny, but I find it.
And then in the future, they're going to look back and be like, "Remember when you summoned us?" And then the Waymos will attack us. Mark my words.
Against it.
In 20 years from now, we're going to be at war with the Waymos.
At first, it had me wondering: is this Waymo like wanting to get rid of their old Jaguars? Because I think they're switching to Toyotas now for the basis of their let's get rid of this old junk by sending them down to the protest. We'll send them all down. They'll get destroyed. We'll have insurance pay us out. Or maybe they're worried about Tesla and the robotaxis coming and taking them out.
Right.
Obviously, that's probably not true. The second part, but
there's a huge push for Waymos. They want to put 150,000 of them on the road by 2030, are their plans. So, I mean, this is taking over the world soon. We're not going to have any internal combustion anymore, and this is where it's starting to.
And we're not allowed to drive our own cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when we're 80, we're not going to want to. So it's perfect timing.
I don't want to. I'm going to be messing with everybody getting driven by themselves in my, 23 Packard, and just messing with them. And they'll take the keys away, from my cold dead hands, like, Charlton Heston said about his rifle or whatever. But so Waymos, I giggle a little bit. I get that it's destruction of property and, and all that stuff. But it's a Waymo, so I find it amusing. But Tesla coming in with the robotaxi, coming in hot with AI, coming in hot with their own competitor. But in the meantime, they're dependent on car sales.
Right.
And Elon went from being the first buddy and Democrats hating him because he's the first buddy to Trump to not the first buddy. So now Republicans don't like him because he had the big falling out with President Trump. So you can imagine he's just made both sides of the political aisle angry, and neither of them want to buy his cars.
Right.
So
it seems like a very political thing.
Sales. of Tesla.
Uh-oh.
What do you think? How far off from Q1 2024 before he went too political?
Oh, they got to be down a lot.
How much, you think?
I don't know. 30%, I would say.
30%, 9%.
Okay.
30% would be pretty catastrophic.
I mean, that's what I feel like has been happening with the sales. That like everyone's staying away from it.
Right. But the thing is, overall EV sales are up like record highs, 11%
You're
up
kidding.
year to year. But Tesla is down 9%, which
Right.
I'm with you. I would have thought it would have been much worse.
Yeah.
But I suppose the product and the price point sort of speaks for itself.
Sure.
And the cars are still good enough that people are buying them, and just, most people just don't care about politics at all.
Right. I mean, if you want an electric car, would you say Tesla is the top dog, the leader in the electric car world?
As far as if you want a car that basically drives itself, their
Yeah.
self-driving technology is nowhere near like
Right.
GM Super Cruise or so many others. And yeah, for the price point, it works. But you said 30%. There
Yeah.
is one company that is 37% off year to year.
Huh.
And that's Rivian.
Shut up. Seriously?
Rivian, in this list on Yahoo Finance, Rivian 37% off sales
That's
year to year, which
shocking.
is really bad.
And it's scary because they're coming out with some new models that look really promising, and I don't want to say cute because they're going to be manly and fun, but like stuff consumers actually want to buy that are kind of more utilitarian and easy to get around in, and I'm shocked.
And this is before Scout comes out too, which I feel like is going to be the closest Rivian
Right.
competitor as far
Right.
as the looks, as far as what they're going for. So yeah, really rough. But Mercedes is the one that really took it. I mean, 58% off year to year. But they've kind of abandoned a lot of their EV ideas.
Well, that's what I was
and
going to
things.
ask, because I feel like in the world of Mercedes, there are so many different models to keep track of. Do they need to kind of hyper focus on their bread and butter, would you say?
I think that they basically just cut production of a lot of their EQ series and just canceled it all together, and that's why the sales are so far down, because what was moving was so slow. So
Right.
Mercedes canceled a lot of stuff. Lexus is down 9% as well. So who's up? Porsche, 249% up.
What
Holy
are
smokes.
they doing right?
They're giving away electric
Wow.
cars. Toyota, 196%. A lot of new Toyota electric models.
Yeah.
GMC, got to think about it, came out with the Hummer EV,
Right.
which didn't sell all that much. But then they came out with the GMC EV pickup truck. So they're up 183% because they now have the GMC
But
EV.
the electric Hummer kind of made them look cool, put them on like the cool marketing path, I guess, for them to do well in other areas.
But they weren't selling that many, but the new GMC truck obviously
Right.
exploded their sales in electric, at least percentage-wise. Subaru and Volvo are 173%. Chevrolet, 114%. Once again, they have the new Silverado EV.
Yeah, I love that truck.
Volkswagen, 55%. With the ID Buzz not selling all that well, I imagine, not that much. And BMW up 26%. Cadillac, 37%. Once again, new EV offerings. Lyriq doing well.
Right.
And
Celestiq?
the Escalade EV, the
Yeah.
Celestiq as well. So new offerings. Nissan is up 22%, Ford 12%, Hyundai 5%, Audi 3%.
Okay.
So Audi
They're stable.
with their e-trons, which is a lot of electric cars, but not good for Tesla.
That's surprising,
Not good.
but I thought it would be worse for them.
With the new Cybertruck, I imagine in Q1 the Cybertruck wasn't out yet. So when they do the year to year with Q2 or Q3, when everybody was buying up Cybertrucks and they were building them much quicker, I wonder if it'll be worse.
Sure.
The headlines will be something like 20-30%, but we'll see. But there's one company that really lost their butt on their electric car.
Yes.
And that's Edmunds. And this might be the most, negative, most incendiary article from Edmunds on a car review I have ever seen.
Really?
And they could do it because the company's bankrupt, but also because they lost $60,000 on their Fisker Ocean. They bought one car as their tester
Right.
for their test fleet.
Yeah.
They paid $70,000 for it,
Oh, and
hoping it would last, whatever. There'd be
no.
some value at the end after they drove it for a year and talks about their experiences, all that stuff. That's what Edmunds does. Talks about how often it breaks and things. It's a very
Yeah.
good tool as far as Edmunds having their press fleets. Well, this one they bought full sticker, 70 grand. When they first came out, the company went bankrupt shortly after. They fought through all the issues. It was parked for a long time, and they finally dumped it for $10,000. a year
ouch.
later.
Well, no wonder this article is rough on them, because that's the biggest depreciation I've ever heard.
But their first paragraph is brutal.
Okay.
And I'll just read it because it's pretty amazing. They say, hey, remember our Fisker Ocean? You know, the electric SUV we bought for under $70,000 in 2024, made by a company that went bankrupt? The one that threw error codes the day we bought it? The one that wouldn't lock or unlock? The one that wouldn't start? The one that, if started, wouldn't shut down? The one that thought we were in Alaska? The one that would slam on the brakes out of nowhere? The one with forward-facing sensors that deactivated in direct sunlight or rain? The one that wouldn't recognize its own key fob? The one with a fob that would die every 2 months? The one that would roll backward like a car with a manual transmission when it's in park? The one with heated seats that wouldn't work sometimes? The one with air vents that wheezed and clicked? The one with door handles that wouldn't retract? The one we had to pull off the front fascia just to manually open the hood when the 12-volt battery died? And the one that, after less than a year of ownership, ultimately lost more than 80% of its value. Yeah, that's the one. We sold it for $10,000.
Sounds like the perfect car for you. That sounds like a scary death trap, like Christine Stephen King, that car could kill you because it's going to malfunction in some way. It's going to lock you in and put the heated seats on to fire and you're cooked, or some weird techie stuff is going to go on.
So they put 7,500 miles on it. It cost them $7.78 per mile.
Right.
More than probably the running annual cost of a Bugatti Veyron on a Fisker Ocean.
Right.
Which you can understand, since the company is no more, they really didn't need to pull back any punches, and they just absolutely annihilated this thing. But I love in the photos, when the thing went dead in their parking garage, look, they had to pull off this front fascia.
Right.
And then use it as a prop rod to get open and jump it off.
It's a good idea.
To get into the cabin, to get it running again. And then they finally found someone that would give them $10,000 for it. I don't know, but they just eventually dumped it. So once they got it jumped off, the alarm went off. It was ear piercing. It was crazy. You know, they replaced the battery. They got it going, and then they just got rid of it.
Yeah.
But by far, that is probably the worst review out of Edmunds of any car ever.
It's amazing.
It's like, you know, the IMDb for Snow White is like 1.8 out of 10. It might be the lowest ever. This is it for a car review.
And that tracks for the Ocean, because it's a piece of... Thanks so much for watching.